All right, let's preview week three a little bit. So week three, I'll read off some games, some of the main games here, and then you give me your five that you have down as your games to watch. So I'll just read them off. Virginia Tech at West Virginia, Cincinnati at Indiana, Michigan State at Miami, Nebraska at Oklahoma, Purdue at Notre Dame, Georgia Tech at Clemson, Alabama at Florida, South Carolina at Georgia, Virginia at North Carolina, Auburn at Penn State, Tulane at Ole Miss, Arizona State at BYU, Fresno State at UCLA. So that's kind of the main list I was looking at to pick my five games from. What are your five?
Yeah, so the five that I'm looking forward to watching the most, and just so we're clear, week three not great. It's not maybe quite. It definitely not week one, and probably not even really week two. But it still has some intriguing games. Certainly five good games to watch at least. Cincinnati, Indiana is going to be one of them for me. I think Cincinnati, just they're a fascinating team, a team that could probably has a chance at least of going undefeated this year. Which makes them just a playoff threat. If nothing else, that makes them a playoff threat. They're playing a Big Ten team, and you're not going to be able to see that much. So watch that one. Just see who Cincinnati is. See how well disciplined they are, and yeah, the playmakers they have because they do have some. I think that one will be interesting. Michigan State, Miami. That one's sneaky good. I'm really excited about Michigan State, Miami. I think Michigan State seems to have it turned around. They have a running game again that we've talked about in pods past. Kenneth Walker, the transfer in he's kind of maybe brought back what Michigan State used to have, maybe like with Le'Veon Bell, some of those guys. Not to put too much pressure on them, I guess, but no. And I think Miami is a little overrated, so I view that as a really competitive game. Alabama, Florida is I it will be competitive at least at the kickoff. It will be tied at the kickoff. After that, we're not sure. Florida has a quarterback battle. Actually, it is on there. Emory Jones has not played well. Not to toot my own horn, but I told you so. And Anthony Richardson looks really good. The redshirt freshman, I believe. So that's interesting. That's going to be something to watch. I think it's absolutely must watch TV. Dan Mullen versus Nick Saban again. I think it's going to be fascinating. The last two that I have is Auburn Penn State. Really good non-con game. It's in Happy Valley. Yeah, it's going to be white out. College game day is going to be there. It's going to be a night game, so it's going to be bonkers. It's SEC Big Ten. Auburn doesn't play Penn State. Auburn in my lifetime hasn't been up there to my knowledge. So it's going to be a matchup you're not used to seeing, and a must watch. Yeah, how does Brian Hartson, the new coach for Auburn, how's he going to handle really big pressure? This is going to be his first big time pressure game. Auburn's had just really a cakewalk in the first 2 weeks, and they've looked really good. They've put up a ton of points in the first 2 weeks against nobodies. Now you're playing Penn State, who has a legitimate defense. Yeah, so there's going to be a storyline there, one way or the other. Either James Franklin with a huge win, and kind of really sets Penn State up as kind of a contender in the Big Ten, or Brian Harsin really, pulls an upset and really establishes himself as kind of the new young gun in the SEC. So one of those two will happen, something that we'll need to keep an eye on. The last one I have is Arizona State and BYU. I think BYU is, they're ranked now. They're number 23, Arizona State at 19. Yeah, just kind of two teams that they're a couple of tiers down maybe, but a win here could really vault them up a couple of notches, kind of into kind of that sneaky good category. I think both of these teams have an ability to be sneaky good. Just see if BYU's win against Utah was a fluke, and to see how good Arizona State is. I think that's going to be a really good game. Again, it'll be a late game, great for me out here in the Pacific time zone. So. Yep, those are my five this week, and there's a few other ones, but those are the five that I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, we have almost perfect overlap. One difference for me, instead of the Michigan State Miami game, which I am interested in for sure, I put down Tulane at Ole Miss. I just feel like that could be a pretty exciting game after what we saw Michael Pratt do against Oklahoma. Maybe that could be a shootout there. So let's just break these games down. Cincinnati and Indiana, our first one. Obviously, Cincinnati's going to need this one for playoff consideration. Indiana, I wouldn't say necessarily needs it for their goals to be met, but it would be nice for sure, just as a statement win for them after getting blown out in week 1 against Iowa. So Cincinnati, a 3.5 point favorite. What are you looking for here?
Yeah, no, I don't think this one's going to be particularly close. I know you're an Indiana fan, at least partially, and I do apologize. Michael Penix hasn't looked as good as he has last year. He pre-injury, of course. I know he's going through an injury, and hopefully he does shake some rust off and get back to his former self. To this point, he hasn't yet. And this Cincinnati team, especially their defense, is salty. They are salty on defense. I don't see this being very close. There are some people. I think the spread is Cincinnati at 3.5.
Hmm.
I will be taking that is going to be in fact one of my locks of the week. I think Fickle has done a really good job there. I really like Desmond Ritter, the quarterback there. I think he's a playmaker. He distributes the ball pretty well. So yeah, for me this isn't close. I think that they could win by 2, possibly even 3 scores. Yeah, it would be one of my locks of the week. Hate to say that to an Indiana fan, though.
No, that's understandable. Cincinnati is also one of my locks of the week, and I do wonder, like maybe Vegas just hasn't quite caught up to Indiana. I do feel like, or I think we both kind of feel like maybe last year they overperformed a bit, and maybe we're now seeing that this is maybe more of like a 7-5 type of team than like a 9-3 type of team. And Cincinnati, I think, is a legit team. They're very good. They've done well so far this year. I don't know if they're like a playoff good team, but they're in the next tier. So yeah, to me, I just feel like Cincinnati's better, just flat out better. And 3.5, I don't love that number because they can win by a field goal and you lose your bet. But I do think this is going to be more than a field goal game. Um, are there any particular matchups or anything that you're looking for in this game?
I would say probably the secondary of Cincinnati, which is they have some legitimate NFL talent there in the secondary for Cincinnati against Penix. You know, can he start to distribute the ball and take deep shots like he did last year? We haven't seen it yet. It would be great if I would love to see him get back to that level again. Great quarterback play is good for all of us, including the viewers. So yeah, I hope he does. I don't think he will though. I think just top to bottom, I think that whole unit, the whole defensive unit for Cincinnati is very very good, and I don't see Indiana scoring 3 or 4 touchdowns on them. I really don't. I think they will be able to keep them down to 14 to 17 points, and come out with a fairly easy win.
All right. Our next game is Michigan State at Miami. Miami, a 6.5 point favorite last I checked. Obviously, contrast of styles and just more than just styles of play, but just styles of programs. So you've already mentioned this, like fun matchup here. What are you looking for in this game?
Can De'Aaron King, like, yeah, what does he have against it? This is a team that Miami is better than. Miami is more talented than Michigan State. That is a fact. That is not debatable currently. But can they settle down, and can I think they're maybe in their own head a little bit. I think the game against Alabama wrecked them maybe more than we believe. I think that could have really actually messed up their whole season. I don't think they at all saw that game going that way, week 1 against Alabama, and just to get absolutely brutalized like that in the first 15 minutes, I think it really shook their confidence. I don't see them getting back on the right track this week either. Michigan State is another one of my locks. Um, Kenneth Walker has played very well for the running back for Michigan State, the transfer in. He's averaging currently 10 yards a carry. Miami's favored by 6.5. That's almost a full touchdown. That feels wildly high. That, like, I would almost say the wrong team is favored. I'm not going to go quite that far. I would say that this is more of a pick'em game, something closer to that, maybe 2 points to a pick'em game. 6.5, that feels wildly high. I'm going to take Michigan State and hopefully get back on the winning track this week. Rough week for me last week, but yeah, I understand I'm relying on a Big Ten team. Heaven help me. I really think that yeah, I think this is Vegas maybe making a mistake here and not recognizing that I think Miami's they're a boxer that really took a big punch, and right now they're just kind of wandering around the ring right now. So Michigan State, I think, in a win this week.
Yeah, this one is a total stay away for me personally. I don't I feel like I have no idea what to expect in this game. Um, I could see Miami blowing them out. I could see it being close. I could see Michigan State winning a close game, or even blowing them out. Who knows? So this will be fun to watch, just because I have no idea what's going to happen, and I don't have a lock on this, so I get to just see you squirm one way or the other. But yeah, I agree with kind of most of what you said there. It's been good to see Michigan State have some life in the running game and some stuff like that. Still have a good defense, so good matchup here for sure. Um, Next, Alabama at Florida. So Bama 15 and a half to 16 and a half point favorite, depending where you look. You already mentioned Emory Jones and Anthony Richardson, bit of a quarterback battle there. Do you expect them to do anything other than mostly play Emory Jones? And also related, do you think there's any reason to think Florida could keep this close?
Not if they play Emory Jones. No, I don't think they will. Anthony Richardson is clearly the better quarterback. Like I don't understand what I understand Dan Mullen's a little bit stubborn. Okay, I'm a Georgia fan and Florida is my arch rival. Like I know about Dan Mullen at least a bit. Emory Jones is kind of his guy. Like he's kind of sticking with him. But Anthony Richardson is clearly the better quarterback to anyone that has watched those play this year. Like I'm not sure why it's still a competition. I don't understand it. I never really saw all the hype with Emory Jones. He was a sneaky Heisman contender 2 games ago. 2 games ago, Emory Jones was kind of a trendy Heisman pick.
Mhm.
And he hasn't been impressive. He's the interceptions. It's not the amount of interceptions. It's that they're just bad. Like he throws them and it's into triple coverage. There's got like it's just a very dumb throw. It's clearly been made up ahead of time that that's where he's going to go with the ball. And three defenders or none, he's still going to throw it there. And yeah, and it's gonna lead to interceptions. So he's not as much of a playmaker in the running aspect. Richardson does that quite well too. So if Florida goes and starts Anthony Richardson, I'm interested. I am very interested. If they start Emory Jones, I think he'll get played right off the field by the opposing quarterback Bryce Young, who I think will have a great day again. Um, yeah, no, I don't see how Florida does it as they are currently. So hopefully they were kind of holding something in reserve, and we'll get to see it this week. They're going to need to be, or otherwise they're going to be in trouble on Saturday.
So I know this is hard for you to process, but I want to put you in Dan Mullen's shoes. You're in charge of Florida now. All right. Do you go ahead and play Anthony Richardson, hoping for a miracle and a win, or do you play Emory Jones, knowing that he's probably going to get destroyed, and then you have clear reason to play the young guy after the following week, knowing that you're most likely going to lose to Alabama regardless. And if you play Anthony Richardson, he's probably not going to have a great time because he's playing Alabama, and you could wreck some of his confidence.
I understand that point, but haven't I mean, if you are the coach, you've watched these guys practice all spring. I mean, surely, right? This can't have just happened, in the last 2 games where suddenly Emory Jones can't make a read. Like, do you understand my point though? Like, I believe that Richardson is better anyway and should have been starting 2 games ago. I understand that now is not a great time just to throw him in as his first start and feed him to the Lions, really. Like I understand that, and no, Emory Jones probably should be the starter. He probably will be the starter on Saturday. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying that you maybe made the wrong mistake this spring or in this summer, in this fall, and 2 games ago when you started Emory Jones as your season day one starter for your year. I think they started the wrong guy. But to be fair, it would be a really good time to switch him after the Alabama game. So Emory Jones goes and gets destroyed against Alabama, looks bad, and then you go to Anthony Richardson and possibly turn your season around after that, which you still could do. Maybe that's the play. Maybe that has kind of always been the play. Play Emory Jones kind of let people see that this is not working and then make the switch. I don't know. Maybe that's his thought.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to play that. And there's two options there, and depending who you talk to, it's whatever. One or the other is smarter than the other one. Um, but I don't think this game is going to be close, regardless of what happens with the quarterbacks. I Alabama is my second lock of the week after Cincinnati, so I'm taking Alabama minus 15 and a half. Um, yeah, I see that there would be a way for Florida to keep this closer than that, just because it is Dan Mullen and he does know how to coach offense, and maybe one of the quarterbacks gets hot. But I still feel pretty comfortable with this. I do think that Alabama didn't play as well as they should have last week against Mercer, and I sort of think maybe there some of that was a little bit. I think Saban likes that. I think he likes when his team plays a little bit down against a completely overmatched opponent. I'm guessing this last week, or this week, the practices are probably not super fun, and I do think Alabama is going to be ready to just come out and kick some tail this coming Saturday. So I do have Alabama covering that spread. I know this isn't one of your locks. Which side of this would you be on if you had to pick one?
Okay, so I'm seeing 14 and a half. I know you probably have 15 and a half. I have Alabama getting 14 and a half,
I'll
which
take it. Put me
is
down for
even
14.
better, right? That's I'd say I'd probably take Alabama. My first thought is to take Alabama because I think they're just a wagon this year, like for no other reason than I think Alabama's that much better. Um, so yeah, I would be on the Alabama side. I'm just staying away from it because an SEC game against Dan Mullen, like Dan Mullen, for all the knocks that, and I dislike him. Like I just dislike him as a person, but he's a good football coach. Like there, Florida will be. I think that there is a possibility that they keep this close. I'm just going to say that there's a possibility that they keep this close. I don't think they will. That's why I didn't have it in one of my locks. Is no, Alabama is the right side to be on. Would be shocked if it doesn't happen, but it is the SEC, and this is a big matchup, and Florida's going to come out. This is a home game for Florida. They're going to come out firing, and they're going to empty the kitchen sink at Alabama. And let's see what happens.
Sure. Okay, now probably the biggest game of the weekend as far as maybe a little more closely matched teams. Auburn at Penn State. You mentioned this is not like a typical matchup, an SEC team going up into the North for a game like this. This is something pretty cool, and this is one thing that I love about non-conference scheduling. I love when teams like this play other big name teams, and it's just fun. My main question for this game, you mentioned the offense for Auburn has put up big points. Bo Nix has looked good against bad teams. My question is, can Bo Nix play well against a great defense? We haven't really seen it so far in his career, but he is a junior now. Like maybe he's magically flipped a switch. Penn State a 6-point favorite against Auburn. What are you looking for in this game?
Well, I think you hit it exactly right. Bo Nix, like how much of a difference is it to have Brian Hartson there? Bo Nix has looked comfortable. He's been efficient. It's not he hasn't thrown many incompletions. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. I know it's against bad competition, but I mean, it's still Bo Nix. Like Bo Nix is just the ultimate dice roll when he gets the snap. So to see him just kind of in control, he's maybe composed. Composed might be the word that you're looking for there, and I think that's really impressive. I think if he can go to Happy Valley with that crowd and keep his composure and play well, Auburn has the talent to stick with Penn State. There is no question. Auburn has players to play with them. I think if they can get even just a solid quarterback performance from Bo Nix, this is a football game. This is absolutely a football game. I know it's a great defense that they're playing against, but Bo Nix has talent. There is talent there. If they can keep their composure with that crowd, with the atmosphere, with a first-time head coach, if they keep their composure, Auburn has a chance. We'll see if they do or not.
Yeah, this is another game where I'm I'm really interested in it because I feel like I have no idea what's going to happen. We saw Penn State with a great win against Wisconsin, but even in that game, like their offense was struggling the vast majority of the game. Not sure how good they are. Obviously, they put up points against Ball State last week, but again, how much can you learn from that? You can learn a little bit of something from every game. but less from games like that. So to me, this is a big game for both teams. I think maybe not necessarily for like a national title or playoff implications, but just what are we gonna? How are we gonna view these teams going forward? This is a big game. Definitely looking forward to this one. Okay, so another game I had on my list that you did not. Tulane at Ole Miss. Tulane a 14 or 14 and a half point underdog in this game. Obviously, they almost beat Oklahoma in week one, and I think most of us would probably say Ole Miss is not as good as Oklahoma. Um, so I considered making Tulane one of my locks, but I also could see this. I mean, Ole Miss can put up points in bunches. They could make this a 3 touchdown game pretty easily. To me, this comes down to just watching these quarterbacks, Michael Pratt and Matt Corral, and then of course the offenses at large. I'm curious to see what these teams look like because I think we can learn something about both teams here. Tulane, I think, is one of those teams that could contend for the Group of Five spot in the New Year's Six. And Ole Miss, like depending what they look like there's an opening in the SEC West. Obviously, Alabama is going to win it. Second place, kind of up for grabs. We've talked about Arkansas. We like them a lot. Ole Miss is another team that shoot. Why not them? Why not Ole Miss? So I'm very interested to see what Ole Miss looks like here. See if their defense can get some stops. They've played better this year so far than they did last year. Last year, obviously, that was their weakness. So yeah, I guess I'm curious just to see what these teams look like because I do think these are two good teams.
I think they have really good quarterbacks. Like I think the quarterback play overall is going to be spectacular. Pratt, when he played against Oklahoma there in Norman, was just dealing and kind of kept them in, kind of made a comeback and had a chance really to win the game. Stopped on a fourth and long and was only I think a yard short maybe of that first down, which would have made things really spicy after that. But no, this is a fun one. I think I yeah no I didn't have it, but Ole Miss is just must watch TV every week anyway because you just do not know what's going to happen. They're going to score a lot of points, and they may give up a lot. You're not sure. So no, I think this could be a fairly competitive game. I do think Ole Miss probably pulls away. I would say probably take the over. With Ole Miss, I would probably have them going over 14 points. Probably maybe more like 20 points as margin of victory for Ole Miss. But again, who knows? I mean, this is a Tulane team that should have beat Oklahoma. So no, I think watching great quarterback battles is interesting. Like just seeing two quarterbacks just go out against each other and just deal consistently drive after drive is a lot of fun to watch. I think this will be probably what we'll see in this game.
Yeah, I'm excited for it for sure. And I'm trying to find the over under for this game. I'm not finding it right now. That's anyway. Might be a game to take the over for the total points scored, just because it's
76. It's at 76.
76. Nice. All right, so our last game that's on both of our lists, another ranked matchup actually. Arizona State at BYU. Obviously, BYU the impressive win of the Holy War last week. Arizona State, another one of those solid Pac-12 South teams that could have a chance to win the division. And with Utah and USC slipping last week, like they have a big opportunity here. I feel like to kind of take the lead here in this race. Obviously, this game doesn't have a direct implication in the Pac-12 South, but they can take the. I feel like they can kind of become the favorite with a win here. Um, what Arizona State 3.5 to 4 point favorite. I don't know. Like I feel like a week ago we'd have thought that was an easy take Arizona State and the points. What do you think now after seeing BYU beat Utah?
Well, no, I really like BYU. I'm just maybe concerned that this would just be a letdown game.
Yeah.
After just, I mean, really beating up on your biggest rival, first win in a decade. You know, it's the Holy War. It's everything that a BYU fan would live for is is a win over Utah. And then next week to have to come out and go against still a really solid team in Arizona State. I think it's going to be hard for them. I'm rooting for BYU. I hope BYU wins. I think it's just this will be a true test of just coaching staff. I think, and then just mental toughness. Like how can you prepare for another big matchup after your biggest win in the last decade, probably? Like how are you ready? Like how ready can they be? It's a home game for BYU, which helps. It's one of the rare ones actually where the spread and ESPN's FPI disagree. So the FPI would actually favor BYU, which again, that thing's kind of a sham anyway, maybe. But Vegas does like Arizona State by 3.5. I haven't seen 4, but I have seen 3.5. So it's going to be an interesting game, late game. Yeah, at Pac-12 after dark. It's going to be on ESPN. Must watch. Why not? What else do you have to do on a Saturday night?
Sure. Okay, so that's kind of the upcoming week. And just to recap our locks of the week, I have Cincinnati minus 3.5, Alabama minus 14.5. Ashton, you have also Cincinnati minus 3.5, and Michigan State plus 6.5. So we'll see if we can have a good week here. For the year, we're at 500 even combined. So we'll see where that goes. Maybe we can make some people some money this week, but we are not, as always, we are not responsible for you losing money. So you're supposed to relate to us. You're not supposed to take us as the ultimate authority in all things college football, although we are working to become that.